Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Vale and I am a mental health advocate, and I share my journey with anxiety and depression in hopes to help you. I share tools as to how I overcame certain feelings and also how I still currently deal with it today. So if you would like to hear more, please make sure you subscribe and like this video because it helps me out. Thank you so much. So let's get into it. Today what I really want to talk about is journaling. And I know there's this misconception of like the, oh, dear diary kind of thing. It doesn't have to be that layout. I mean, if you want to, if that's what you're into and that's what helps you journal, then you go for it. You decide how you want to journal. But personally, what has helped me a lot is I like to make lists, right? I'm a very list-oriented person. But before we get into that, I do want to explain where my journaling journey, oh man, too much journeys. When I started journaling, okay? So for me, the idea was originally introduced to me when I was about 8-9 years old, and it was during a really hard time period in my life and my family's life. There was a really big shift in the structure of who our parents were gonna be, myself and my brothers, and it was actually my stepdad who sat me down and opened a Word document for me and was like, oh, you can use this to type your dreams or whatever, because I do recall having really vivid dreams during that time period, of course, because I had just gone through a traumatic event and I had a lot of emotions going on, but I was 8 or 9 years old. I didn't really understand what I was feeling. So he kind of gave me that foundation that I could type what I wanted to on the Word document. And you know, by the way, back then, like, it was like the box computer. I mean, my dad was super outdated also, like the whole PC, and it was a box desktop. Like, that's crazy to think about how times have changed. That's originally where the idea was introduced to me. And then I did notice that my dad was reading it at some point. So then I was like, I didn't feel safe to write in there anymore. So I kind of stopped. Don't look at your kids' journals. That's not cool. Unless you're really worried. In that case, yeah, you should probably do it. I truly believe in respecting privacy. So since then, I didn't really journal that much, but I've always just been better at expressing myself with writing than I was verbally. For me, I always felt that writing just gave me time to process my thoughts and understand them in a different way than like speaking about it, which I know a lot of people are like that, and there's no shame in it. It's fine. Sometimes even when if I'm having an argument or something or a discussion, I need time. I need to separate myself so that I could process what I'm feeling, and it's not a bad thing to process your emotions. If anything, it's gonna benefit you because you're gonna come back with a clear mind and not say something that you don't mean. So yeah, I started writing consistently again when I was 14, and I actually started doing that because I went to therapy. It was the only time I went to therapy besides my recent experience with therapy. I just went to one session, my dad took me, and it was my therapist that recommended it, and honestly it wasn't even that great of a session. There was a lot of kind of moments, and it was like, the only tip I got from that was get a journal and just write what you're feeling. But at least I got something out of it, and it did benefit me in the long run. I continued to journal, and this is actually the journal that I got when I was 14. I actually brought out all my journals. I have a bunch of them. I literally have a bunch. So yeah, I brought them all out just to kind of share how I journal, and that it doesn't have to be the whole dear diary thing. It's honestly just whatever is on your mind, just put it on paper, get it out of your mind so you're not stressing, so you're not overthinking it. So I do journal every day, and sometimes it's just 10 minutes, not even, sometimes it's 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be like an hour of you just sitting there writing your life story. For me, journaling has been an organization tool, and it has helped me organize my stressors, my life stressors, that's how I call them. They're my life stressors. My budgeting, my dreams, my mantras, my beliefs, my false beliefs, just different things that's going on in my mind. And especially in the beginning, I had a hard time keeping it consistent because I would be like, okay, what do I write about, you know? And you don't actually have to have something that you want to write about. It could be anything. I personally like making my list, like I've said. I love my lists, and I'm going to show you how I do my lists. I have different kinds of lists. It doesn't always have to be like an epiphany or like a revolutionary moment and you're like, oh my God, like my whole life has changed. Like, no, like sometimes you're just like, things I'm grateful for, my arms, these things. Just random things, and little by little, especially this was like during a time period that I wasn't really happy with myself. I was going through a lot of, obviously, like as a young teenager, I was going through a lot of physical changes, puberty, hormones, school life, home life, a lot of things were going on, and I really didn't like anything about myself. So I just started writing down things I like about myself, just silly stuff. My belly button. I put that I like my belly button. Pero bueno, even if you can't find something that you like about yourself, you just start writing. And that's literally, I was sitting there for a minute too. I was like, what do I like about myself? And then my arms came to mind, and then slowly I just started progressing, and I just kept writing, like all the things that I like about myself. One of the most consistent lists that I've done is gratitude, just a list of things that I'm grateful for in my life. I don't have it in a physical form anymore. I mainly keep my gratitude in a Google Docs file, which is great because I could write my gratitude anywhere. I could just be in bed, just woke up, go on my Google Docs on my phone and just start writing down what I'm grateful for. And I love starting my day like that. It just sets a tone for everything in the entire day. So that's the number one list that I love, that I feel like everyone needs to do. It helps you look out for more things to be grateful for. It's like a rewiring of your brain. It all goes back to it. It's a cognitive behavioral therapy. It's that changing of your brain with your self-talk. Besides the things I like about myself list and also the gratitude list, which everyone should do, I really like my stressor list, my stress factor list, right? And I used to do this like throughout high school because obviously there's a lot going on in high school. You got finals, you got state exams, you got SAT testing, there's just a lot going on. So this really helped me throughout high school, but it really impacted my early adulthood, especially when I turned 18 and I had to basically figure out how I was gonna be an adult in this world without any real guidance. So this stress factor list was great because that's really what gets you overwhelmed, having so many things that you need to do that you're stressed out about and you just don't know how to find the solution. So then you keep avoiding it and procrastinating it, and then you forget about it, and then it comes up, and then let's say you forgot to pay something, and then you got a fee now, and then that fee keeps building up. But it's just staying organized. I'm actually going to show you an example here. So on one side I write what I'm stressed about. What is my problem in my life right now? What is my current challenge? I like to see it as a challenge, right? I mean, yes, there's stress factors because they are stressing me out, but the view of, okay, this is a challenge and how can I overcome this challenge? So on one side I write what is stressing me out, and then on the other side it's a column of solutions. So with that one problem, what are the steps for me to resolve this issue? And I've done it with everything. I mean, one time I had like something in collections from like a hospital that I didn't pay because I didn't have insurance at the time. So that was on my stress factor list. I was like collections, and then on the side I'll be like, okay, contact them. They're open from this time. Like I would just do different research. And sometimes I didn't even have the answer to things. I would just look at, okay, what is in my control, and what's not in my control, I'm not gonna stress about it. There were some things that I didn't know the solution for it. So what I would do is just, okay, do research on this, or ask this friend that probably knows about this, or ask this friend to ask their mom because I know that they handle things like this. They handle finance or they handle immigration. You just try to see who is in your circle that can provide you answers. And if not, good old Google is always on your side. Google has saved me countless times in my life, and all the resources are in our hands that we can access just with a quick search. Honestly, it's just becoming aware of the situation. What is stressing me out right now? Okay, I'm making it clear that this is stressing me out. I'm bringing awareness to it. All right, I have that awareness. Now what can I do about it? And I just feel like you kind of open your mind to stay actively looking out for solutions. So you can go about your day and then someone starts talking about it, or you hear about it somewhere, or phones are always listening to us. So maybe you'll get an ad about the situation, and just different things that were stressing me out. Or I would be like, okay, set up auto pay for car payment. Once I set that up and I accomplished it, I would write on the side, done, paid, or done, set up on this date. I love lists because every time I check one off, it gives me a sense of confidence and accomplishment. And I'm like, yes, I did it. I pat myself on the back because remember, you need to be cheering yourself on always. Different things like that is just keeps you organized so you don't feel overwhelmed. And like I said, it just brings awareness to your current life situation, your current challenges. Solutions are all around you. Almost everything has a solution. That's the crazy thing, but we just need to open our eyes and look for it. And then another way that I use my journaling is for budgeting, which of course there is apps like Truebill. I think now they're known as Rocket Money, and I'm not like sponsoring this, or this isn't an ad, it's just what I personally use. They help you organize all of your bills. You link all of your accounts, so it literally lays out what are reoccurring payments, what other purchases you're doing. It categorizes your shopping, your utilities, your health bills, like all these different things. I honestly, I really enjoy it. But if you're living the broke life and you don't have money for that yet, what I used to do before this app was a thing, I would just lay out my bills, which is, you can see kind of here. I would lay out my my bills, my due date, and the description. Again, more lists. So my columns would be due date, description, amounts, and then other costs. So other things like subscriptions, SunPass, gas, iTunes, food. And again, it's just all about awareness. It brings awareness to the fact, okay, this is how much I have and this is how much I could spend. This is the kind of lifestyle I can live, because this is the number one tip for everyone. Do not spend money that you don't have. That's the biggest mistake you can make. And I'm gonna tell you guys honestly, for myself, my credit score has been amazing. I started building my credit since I was 18, and I don't wanna sound cocky, but I am very financially responsible. My credit score is amazing. I've always managed to keep that in check. And although I have a very large credit line, I don't spend all the money. I have never maxed out a credit card. Even when I had my first credit card that was $300, which was, I think, Capital One. My credit limit was $300, and now I've built it to another level that I can have more on my credit cards and not affect my credit, because you do want to stay under the 30%. I can go on and on talking about financial tips and stuff, but if you guys want more information, leave a comment below and I'll make another separate video on finances, because I got you. I have so many tips for that. So yeah, now I explained how I journal with lists, right? So those are my main list kind of journaling. Recently, what I've been doing, since I've been trying to stay even more organized with myself, this is my active journal, and I love sticky notes, by the way. I'm a big sticky note queen. I love them. So for my main journaling that I do now it is sticky notes related. I have like a daily sticky note of like my goals for the day, and then I have a weekly sticky note, and then I have small things that aren't really that important, but when I get around to it, I can do it. And then I have big things, which are pretty much like bigger challenges, right? So I know it's gonna take more researching, more discussions, more things. Like for example, one of the big things that I have is cleaning out my storage unit. It's not gonna be a one-off thing. Like I'm not gonna go there and clean it out and that's it on the same day. I know it's gonna take some time because I have to reorganize, I have to pack things, I have to rent a U-Haul. It's a whole operation, you get me? So that's why I have that on like my big things. And then small things is like Christmas gift plan. I have to create a little plan for my gifting. I like to kind of lay it out so I have an idea of when I'm going out and shopping, because I don't like to waste time. And then of course my daily sticky note is often things that I want to accomplish that exact day, and then I have my separate one that is my weekly one. So those are like the list that I'm doing right now. So it's pretty much daily, weekly, long-term, and short-term goals. It really keeps me organized as to like my end goal. Where do I want to be by the end of the night? Where do I want to be by the end of the week? It's baby steps. Like I said with the storage unit thing, it's not just doing one thing, that's it, you're done. No, it's little by little. It's all those little daily tasks that you accomplish benefits you. Honestly, you guys know I'm all about momentum. Starting small and keep it going. That's what making these lists are for me. Something to start moving, because action creates more action, right? So the more you do it, the more you're gonna become consistent. So once you do evolve from creating lists and getting things out of your mind that are stressing you out, you can go ahead and dig deeper into emotions now. I did start writing different types of journal entries, just different things that are on my mind. And sometimes they're sporadic and they come out. But for the most part, my morning journaling is free. It's free writing, and I sometimes just start with asking myself a question, like, how am I feeling today? And this is where it does get into that Dear Diary. It's more of a self-talk. I sit there and I ask, okay, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And sometimes it's just nonsense. I just start writing, yeah, this happened today, this happened yesterday, and yeah, for some reason I was feeling like this. The more I write, eventually I answer my own question. That's really what journaling with intention is. When you're actually sitting down and allowing yourself the freedom to think and analyze your feelings. And that's one of the first things I learned in therapy: identify, process, and understand. You're sitting with yourself to process all of these things and then understand it. It really helps with your emotions. Now, the list things for me were to reorganize and get clear as to what is stressing me out, to remove that layer so I can go deeper and see what's actually inside emotionally. Once you remove the superficial layer of stress and daily to-do lists and things that you have to do to survive, once you remove that layer, then you can go in deeper and identify, what am I feeling? So then you can process it, so then you can understand. And that's where intentional journaling begins. feelings. How I honestly started viewing it is like texting a friend. Me and my girlfriends, we've had this group chat for years, and we've kind of used it as our personal diary where we tell each other everything, all of our problems, all of our stressors, all of the things that are going on in our lives, which was great during the time. But it's just when you're dealing with more difficult emotions and situations, it's hard to put that on certain people. That's why I got a therapist, and I was like, hey, I don't want to burden people. And through that, she helped me understand that I'm not a burden. People want to be there for me, but it's sometimes hard for people to know how to be there for you, especially if you're going through grieving or depression or anxiety. It's hard for people to understand how you're feeling truly inside. And if you're in a really dark place, anything anyone says is wrong. Sometimes when you're in a dark place, you just want to vent. You don't want people to resolve things for you. You don't want a solution. You're just sometimes looking to let it out. That's how I started navigating my journaling. I viewed it as if I'm texting like a good friend. Again, you are your own good friend. You should be your best friend. So you writing is literally you talking to yourself and saying, oh my God, this is how I'm feeling. And for myself, I use Google Docs, which I think is great because again, you could have it anywhere. You don't even need a laptop. You could just have your phone, the Google Docs app. It's free. It's there. It's free data. Like, why not? As long as it's secure and you know your password and all that, you're good. Don't beat yourself up if you're not able to do it one day. It's just a practice. You get better and better at it every day. It's that self-talk again. If you're not able to do it, don't say, oh man, I'm the worst. I suck. I wasn't able to do it. Just be like, oh, I forgot, but you know what? I'm gonna try to find some time later today. Or you know what? I didn't do it, but that's okay. Give yourself the grace to be okay with not being perfect. Not everyone's gonna be perfect, but the chances that you're able to do it, do it. Try to stay consistent. Try to do it. The thing is, life happens sometimes. So yeah, through Google Docs, I actually have this one document that it's literally called On the Mind. That's it. And I just go in there anytime I have something on my mind. And like I said, how it originally started was that I wanted to text my girlfriend something, but it was like a long paragraph. And I was like, what's the point of me texting it to them? I'm not looking for an answer, response, comfort. I'm not looking for any of that. What I'm looking for right now is just to like let it out. And there's nothing that they can say or do to make it better. But I know that if I let it out and I put it somewhere out of my head, it's gonna help me because it just makes you see it clearer so you're not overwhelmed. It's just out of your mind. And that's what really venting to your friends is. But there are sometimes certain things that doesn't need to be shared with everyone. And your friends can't be everything for you. That was a really hard thing that I had to learn. I had to understand that I need to be my friend first before I can be anyone else's friend. It's literally a cliche. You can't love other people if you don't know how to love yourself, but it's a cliche for a reason. That's why cliches are cliches, because they're true. And it's the truest thing. Until you learn to love yourself, you're not gonna know how to navigate any kind of relationship or friendship. And so through journaling, I was able to become aware of certain things and writing it down. And again, sometimes it wasn't like paragraphs long. Sometimes it was just like a few sentences. And I'm actually gonna bring out my journal. So I'm actually gonna share my epiphany with you because it's deep. I don't know, I'm just gonna get real with you, honestly. Life has been hard, but we're all just trying to survive and we find different ways to cope. And what I mentioned in my previous video, sometimes they're unhealthy coping mechanisms. We all can't be perfect, unfortunately. I wish. All right, so this was from actually March 2nd of this year. And I wrote, I had a moment with myself. I opened the abandonment box and acknowledged little girl me that I never wanted to think about in depth. I cried so much remembering things I never wanted to go back to, and it came down to envisioning her in the room I had when I was 8. I hugged her and told her it was okay, that she doesn't have to say anything, that I understand, that I did good, she's going to survive, everything is okay. Then I did a meditation about traumatic events and dug deeper. It was so powerful. I saw her, I felt her pain and worry and sadness. She was so alone, couldn't express herself to no one. I remember praying every night, asking God to please bring my mom home. All that longing for so long. But now you have your mom, you have your family, you have a loving boyfriend. You lost so much in this life to make you be who you are right now. And right now you are safe, you are loved, you are happy, you are kind. You worked so hard for the life you have now. You survived without her and everyone else that left your life. You made it. You are amazing, you survived. That's just an example of how journaling can get deep too. I love having this because I look back on it and I'm like, wow, like that was the moment that I realized that I want to change, that I'm ready to change, and that I'm opening up all these different boxes, all these cans of worms. I dedicated myself to heal that little girl. I made that decision that I just want to be happy. I'm tired of being that scared little girl in my room when I was 8 years old. And I am so grateful that I was able to to keep all of this, especially as far back as 14. I look back and I see a different version of myself and I'm like, wow, I am so different now. I am not that person that I was. I'm not that lonely, scared, naive little girl. I am a full-grown woman and I'm strong and I made it. Like I said, I survived. I'm here. So yeah, that's why for me journaling is super important, and I feel everyone should be doing it, especially the gratitude thing. Oh my God, like if you're to leave with anything today, please I challenge you for 30 days to write down what you're grateful for every single morning. Your life truly becomes what you focus on. That's plain and simple. So yeah, that's what I have for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I'll see you next week.